That, 1 year ago, is what happened.
Welcome to Today on a Thursday morning. I'm Matt Lauer.
And I'm Ann Curry, in for, I guess, nobody this morning. I mean, myself and I.
It's nice to be able to say that, isn't it?
It's crazy. I can't believe it. It's such a thrill.
Curry had been known as a hard news reporter, parachuting into trouble spots around the globe and interviewing world leaders.
I know people, Mr. President, who I believe were innocent, who were tortured in the prisons.
I don't have such information.
But Curry and Matt Lauer never looked like a comfortable pairing, and this week NBC began negotiating with Curry for a new assignment. So what exactly went wrong? Joining us now in Chicago, Maureen Ryan, television critic for the Huffington Post. In New York, Adam Buckman, who's the television critic for Xfinity. And here in Washington, David Zurich, media and television columnist for the Baltimore Sun. David Zurich, Ann Curry is a world-class journalist. She once told me she is at her core a hard news reporter. Why is Today easing her out?
Ratings is the answer, you know, as everyone has reported.
Good Morning America.
Good Morning America catching them, even though it was only for a couple days in the last 16 years or whatever. That's psychological. Yeah, that made a big difference in terms of what they can sell advertising for over at ABC. And we know the morning is the ball game in terms of news divisions as profit centers. You have to get that right. So the psychology of morning television, where you have this kind of family and people have to feel comfortable with it.
Couch together.
Yes, and if that doesn't work, they know it. So even though she's only been in there a year, NBC has a right to make this move. I wouldn't criticize them. What I'd criticize them for is the way they're handling it right now.
We will come back to that. Maureen Ryan, while Matt Lauer is clearly the megastar at the Today Show after years of getting it done, it often seems in these situations like it's the woman who takes the fall.
Well, I'm alive to that possibility, but it seems like, Katie Couric obviously did amazingly well there for many years. I just think it's a very strange skill set to have. It's like a very distinctive thing to be able to do, to have that warm presence in the morning. And it's honestly, it's no reflection in my mind on Ann Curry. I think it's just a reflection of this is a very specific skill set and a specific mood and tone that people are going for in the morning. And I feel like you kind of either have it or you don't. And I think she's a good reporter and an excellent person to have. And I would agree with David that I do feel to some degree she's being hung out to dry, and that's not really that fair to her. Although, NBC has to look at this in the bigger context of things at NBC have not been going well for a long time. And I actually think giving her a year was actually fairly generous in some ways.
Okay. So the reality, Adam Buckman, is that a hard-charging, very successful correspondent is not necessarily a great morning host, because you have to be able to flip from world crises to doing the cooking segments.
But she was not inexperienced in this. I mean, she was the second-tier, substitute on the Today Show for, 12 or 15 years. I mean, she was not an unknown quantity, and I think she's being scapegoated because she has been a part of the Today Show family for years and years and years, was always a credible substitute, always seemed to get along well on air with Matt Lauer. And frankly, what I've seen of the Today Show lately has been that many of the segments are stale and ill-considered, and I think the show has major sort of general problems, and I don't think Ann Curry was the problem here.
Right. Let's keep in mind, David Zurich, that it is still the #1 show, but I'm not disputing what Adam says. You hinted at this before. Is it humiliating that the story leaked to the New York Times, that NBC hasn't commented, and so her status, although NBC certainly hasn't denied that she will be gone, is in this kind of a weird limbo?
Howie, I don't have a lot of sympathy for a lot of people on television, but seeing last week when the Ladies' Home Journal excerpts came out from an interview that she had done.
I have that right here. Let me just put it up on the screen and you'll make your point on the other side. Before, of course, the news broke about her likely to be leaving, Ann Curry said, "It's hard not to take it personally," talking about criticism. "You worry, am I not good enough? Am I not what people need? Am I asking the right questions? When people say negative things or speculate, you can't help but feel hurt."
And she talked about being there, I think, 5 years or 10 years, sort of, or down the road plans for it. So now you take away this whole PR spin where they can say, oh, it was a mutual move or whatever, and it's really embarrassing. Also, that little graphic, the little script that ran under her by mistake.
I think we have that. If we could put that up while David's talking.
It may have been a total accident. But,
here today, gone tomorrow.
Ouch. And then in the snarky, mean media world in which we live online, They just pound her every day. Oh, did Ann Curry show up for work today? How does she? You know, that's horrible for her to have to go through that.